All right, so this is a video called I Give Up by Veiledshot, a friend and a fellow YouTuber. It has 130 comments. Now, before I spoil it and read the comments, I want to know what's going on and what he's giving up on. And look at Kitty Cat. She looks like she's giving up on life over there. But here, let's get going with it.
I give up, guys. I give up. So today we have a little bit of a different video than normal. I'm clearly bigger on the screen, which I'm sure triggers some of you, and I'm sure is great for some other people. But
I'm a little bigger on the screen today too. In fact, we should match him. I want him to be. We gotta get bigger, Kitty. We can't let Veiledshot beat us.
There's a couple things I wanted to talk about today. One is the community and the community sentiment, as well as something that I wanted to talk about day one, about the community at large, future content, as well as just overall thoughts on the future of Diablo Immortal.
I can tell you the future of Diablo Immortal. The game's not going anywhere. The player base may go somewhere at some point, but the game is not going anywhere. They got plans for the future.
A little bit at the end here. So first off, I'll start by just saying a little bit of appreciation for people out there. There's a lot of you that since the server merges and since the character transfers have been transferring to our server, Darth and I are.
This is actually true. I've received a large amount of DMs in-game from people that like transfer to the server just to play with us, which is crazy, but it's also like, hey, that's pretty cool. So shout out to all the people there on Storm Shield.
Both on the same server, US West Storm Shield. If you guys want to transfer, feel free to do so. You might find me running around in game. And there's a lot of people that just show up. I don't want to like expose anyone here, but
no, do it. Expose them. Show them on the list, Val. They love it. They love seeing their name on there.
There are a bunch of messages that I get just running around saying like, yo, guys, I watch you on YouTube. Like, appreciate the content you put out. It's exciting to see you in the game. Those things, they mean a lot.
They do actually mean a lot. It's like putting a face to a name. Like if you're a YouTuber, you have thick skin, and very often you're going to be used to getting YouTube comments. But seeing them in game hits different in a way.
Because it's always cool to see, or have discussions with you all in the comment section or whatever. But it's another thing to see you guys actually.
He's kind of saying the same thing
and interacting with us, either running dungeons in the group farm and just chilling out with us. It's super fun. I really enjoy that, and I think it's super. It's one of the best parts about Diablo Immortal.
See, that right there is why I use the party finder system. So whenever I'm getting into a dungeon or if I'm doing vault, I just click find party and I let the system find me randoms, both because a lot of times it's actually like people that are like thousands of combat rate or lower that literally need to leech in order to get to the next difficulty. And I don't mind helping those people because it makes it a little bit more entertaining when they get a big upgrade. But two, you get to meet these people. And with the server merges, there's tons of new people. And it's probably like 7 out of 10 times I join a party and someone's like, DM, I watch your videos, or is that DM or whatever. And somebody's being super friendly. And, you got to get the W's where you can get them. So.
And communities at large, right? That's like one of my favorite things about interacting with the community. But that leads me to kind of the point that I wanted to talk about since day one of Diablo. And this is something that I think has soured the community since day one and still sours the community if you have been here since that early part. It doesn't have to be day one, usually about that first month.
What sours the community? So you're going to talk about pay to win and the drama related to pay to win? Because that would be my guess.
General was just pretty rough. So since day one, this game was very interesting because it received a level of hate that I have never seen before. And I'm not talking about, it's pay to win, people hated it, right? Or there's just a lot of people hating it because it's just large. It was a completely different type of hate. And it was mainly perpetrated by a lot of people that genuinely, I'm not going to say that they don't believe what they're saying, but people that genuinely thought that people playing this game, spending money on this game, or even creating content on this game, it wasn't me that was just attacked. It was the community at large. We're just terrible human beings, which is kind of a...
Yeah, the whole like personal attack side of it was definitely something fairly new. I know there were a lot of larger content creators that were very upset about the game, and that definitely a lot of their viewer base ended up going to all of the YouTubers who were covering Diablo Immortal. I know some of the smaller YouTubers that I talked to that were covering the game that ended up leaving could absolutely not understand or handle that amount of feedback, that maybe they weren't used to being flooded. I have been reacted to by larger people before, like I've been reacted to by Quinn. I was actually in a PewDiePie video. I'm a little bit used to getting like splurges of large amounts of comments. I've been reacted to by Asmongold. Like I've had waves where it's like, okay, this is something unnatural that's happening in the comments. Like, this isn't my community. This is coming in a burst externally. And not being able to divide that and understand, like, there's the community that's watching your stuff, and then there's a burst of people that are coming because they got targeted towards you from somewhere. It's hard to differentiate. Like, it's hard to be able to separate those mentally, and it can actually be extremely emotionally draining to have a huge number of comments, like, all flaming you. I know there's one man in particular that is still leaving a comment in every single Diablo Immortal video I can find, big or small content creator, that is personally flaming the person. We all giggle about this. A lot of people actually don't ban him on their channel because they think it's hilarious that he watches and leaves a comment on every Immortal video he can find about how it's a terrible game and anyone who touches the game is terrible people. And he's been doing this for almost 6 months straight. I mean, before the game even launched even. And we can't figure out where the guy came from, and we can't figure out why he's doing it. And he'll remain nameless just so he doesn't get the dopamine of hearing his name. But it's almost weird that you'll get people that are so emotionally attached. And it's like, you had to have known that somebody told them that this game was the devil. Because they're like, I've never played it, I never would play it, but you're a horrible person for covering it. And they would do it for 5 months straight. And I still haven't mentally figured out what's happening with these types of people, because there's only a couple of them left that are still doing this, but it's not something that I've ever experienced before. And so I'm with Veld on this. It's like, it's a little, I mean, look at him. He looks like he got shot. Sorry, Veld, I paused you wrong.
Raid Shadow Legends. I've played a lot of gacha games recently, like Eternal Evolution. I guess that's more of an idle game. Played Infinite Magic Raid. I played Summoner's War for a couple years. And I've played a couple other pay-to-win games, things like Black Desert, that's pay-to-win. And it was never like that. It was always like, oh, this game mechanic sucks, but the game's fun, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't, oh man, you are just... I mean, how could you live with yourself? It wasn't that. I think like it's like I said earlier, the reason for this is the fact that this is a nostalgia game. It is a larger game. It's a game that has a giant neon sign. This is Diablo, but we also put pay to win into it. And because of that, it's receiving such an easy target for everyone to kind of have their hate against it. I think if this was another Lords of Shadows of Legends of, you know, Boom Beach, like no one would care that it's a pay to win game. But because it actually has such a OG name associated with it, is a large deal. That type of level. And it wasn't just the content creators like this. It was actually just everyone. I could see everyone, whether it was Reddit, whether it was Twitter, whether it was just engaging in Discord discussions on their official Diablo Immortal Discord. There was even some people, just everyone attacking each other because of this sentiment, which is, unfortunately, I feel like bled into the day-to-day, and anyone that's continued on playing the game are kind of soured from that. And I would say that a certain percentage of the people that still play this game have become a little bit more hardened because of that, and got a little bit thicker skin with comments you receive. And it's not even just a creator thing. Like, look, if you, the viewer, play Diablo Immortal, and I guarantee you, everyone who's played Immortal has had the experience where you tell somebody that you play Immortal, and that person's like, oh, isn't that a terrible game? Isn't that pay to win? Or why are you supporting that game? Like, everyone's had this pretty much experience. I remember I even had real life friends text me asking me about the game, like, oh, I heard this game's pay to win, like the week it launched, because that's the only thing that people have heard about the game. Like, that's the only thing that people who've never even touched the game have heard, is that it's terrible. So because of that, that's all people know to ask about, and you get a lot of comments about that stuff, which can be draining. That kind of leads me to the next point, which is like the content that I want to make the game better, and content that I perceive as just kind of fun, and then of course content that I try to make for you guys. So on that note, I'd love to see your video suggestions in the comment section down below. Now, I got a lot of videos that I would like to make. Obviously, I'm still here, but I'm interested. I figured it'd be kind of different to see, okay, if you guys have such great ideas and you guys have all these ideas that you want me to do, obviously, I'm not going to get to all of them. That's just what's going to happen, right? I'm sure I'm going to get at least 20, 30, 40 comments with different video suggestions, not just here, but on Discord, etc. But I'm interested to hear your guys' ideas and figure out. It's an interesting concept. He's trying to crowdsource video ideas, which is a good idea to do, because a lot of my videos have been from the comments as well, where somebody will be like, hey, did you know about this? Did you know about this? Or I'll receive a DM about news, etc. And I think the reason for this is because
sometimes when you put up a video where it's like, oh, this is something I want to cover, people will be like, why don't you put up this video? Like for me, I don't PvP a whole lot. So when I put up a PvE guide, someone will be like, why don't you do PvP guides? If you did PvP guides, you would get a lot more views. So that's probably a natural response to that type of comment.
Which ones would make for a pretty solid video, just because I think it'd be kind of a fun little community experiment for us here. Then on top of that, there's a lot of people here in regards to my point about the community being soured, where it doesn't really matter what content you make on this game. Now, I'm signing up for it. It's YouTube, right? Because of the anonymity, you got the comment section. It is what it is. Not really. I don't really care. If you guys post a comment that's attacking me, post a comment that's criticizing me, post a comment that's thanking me, post a comment, whatever it is, it helps me, right? So keep dropping those comment section down below. It's a comment game, guys. Let's go. Regardless, I just enjoy engaging with you all. Doesn't matter if it's like an argument, doesn't matter if it's just, it's kind of fun. It gets the blood boiling or
I know he's probably not very happy about the latest one, because he did 2 videos in a row talking about how you can transfer from one difficulty the green item salvage to another. And 2 videos in a row, he proved this in the video. And both comments in a row, the comments were attacking him, telling him he's a liar. And I read the comments because he was telling me this, and I'm like, is this true? Like, let me look. I go read the comment. It's true. It's literally his top comments were getting upvoted from people saying he's a liar for saying that you can transfer the difficulty of the wisps. And it's literally in the game at the smithy material guy. You just have to click the next tab, but people don't even know how to click the next tab, so they attacked him and called him a liar, and it got upvoted. I still see this on Reddit, where people are like, oh, people are lying and spreading misinformation about it. It's like, no, you're spreading information. It's in the game. You can click on the material guide. It's actually ridiculous. Like, I just want to show you this real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. You actually go to it. It's where is it? Which video is it? It's, where is it? Okay, 90% of players don't know this, because this is the video, Save Your Gold, where he talks about it. And then in this one, and people are just, I wonder if he's removed the comments, but people in the comments are getting upvoted, telling him that he's just wrong. Look at this. Like, look at this. Saving wisps won't help because it'll allow you to create gear. There's currently only wisps. And like, people are just wrong. No point in saving Hell 5 if Hell 6 difficulty shows up. It's like, and they're the top comments. They're the top comments. So it's like, I totally get where he's coming from with the comment thing. It can be a little bit triggering.
Or it just, it engages you in the community, which is always pretty cool. But if you make a video, for example, a perfect example of this is
Here we go.
A week ago, I think, or maybe 2 weeks ago at this point.
He's got to get into it.
A week ago.
Yes.
We had that Dynamine from Dynamine ARPG talking about the legendary essence and how you could upgrade it if you have additional legendary items. And I thought that was a really cool mechanic. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite mechanics that's potentially coming to the game. I'm not going to doubt that it's coming, but who knows when.
It might come, it might not, we don't know.
I was super excited about that, and I posted an entire video about that. And then people responded to that basically
he's going to get into it.
Super negatively. They're like, oh, well, the game's still trash. This doesn't change anything, blah, 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 blah. And
actually, okay, so here's a point I could say is that when I came out with a positive video about the set crafting, where it was on the back of the bad compensation. So we had bad compensation for the legendary gems. I made my video about that. Then what happened was the set crafting came out, and I made my video about that. In the set crafting video, I didn't say that the game is better forever. I said that I like the set crafting, and the set crafting improves the game, which it does factually, and that it's literally something we've been asking for, which it was. And I got in comments that even though I had just made 3-4 negative videos in a row, I mean, so many that I was getting comments literally on the last video, like, all you do is make negative videos. And I had someone even in my Discord when I was chatting with people go be like, oh man, your negative videos are bumming me out. And it's like, I received that feedback significantly. I make one video be like, I like the green set changes. The green set changes were really good. And then people are like, oh my God, you're a shill. You got bought out. How does this change anything? It's like, it doesn't change anything. It changes the fact that now we can craft set green items, which is objectively good. And people are unable to accept something that they don't want to hear, which is that if there's a good update and I say it's a good update, but they're mad at the game, if I come out with anything else that's other than me being mad at the game, in that moment, they're mad at me instead, which is a really weird thing. Because normally in other games, I'm able to be like, in fact, Raid is where I built my community around this, because I would go out and be like, this is a good objective change. This one is bullshit. And I would go through and I would break down why this is bad, why this is good. And that's where I gained my following from that and trustworthiness, because I was able to be like, this is good and I like it. When it's called balance, it's called reasonable, it's called objective. And you can't be objective in this game because the news and everything around it is emotionally driven. And if you're not emotionally driven around your content, just when the community's mad, you're mad, and when the community's happy, you're happy. If you don't follow that line exactly, then you just get flamed for it. You can't be like, hey guys, hold on, this might be bad, but this is good. Or you can't be like, this is good, but actually this is bad. If everyone else is happy, you can't be angry either. You get flamed either way for it. So it is very different in this game.
To be honest, even me saying this in another video isn't going to change anything either. It's not going to change anything.
Correct.
It's going to be the same old, same old.
Same here.
But then you make a video critiquing, which I think some things are obviously more heavily weighted than others. But things that I think could actually be looked at to improve the game, and then it's all people saying, oh, well, the game's great. There's actually super good things about this. I don't know why you're complaining about this. And you can never win, right? You can never win. There's always, whatever you post, the opposite of will take place, which is the nature of YouTube. And so I figured, since today, I'm interested in kind of figuring out the community and, I guess, bursting through this sort of sourness that I think a lot of us have, even myself. I didn't like seeing all these random people earlier on into the game just randomly accuse me of being a terrible human being for playing this game. Again, we're not talking about, you don't want the same changes that I do for the game, therefore we disagree and I'm mad at you. We're talking about people just annoyed that we're playing the game, which is very strange. So I figured, okay, I'm gonna ask the community and see what's going on, and maybe we can get some interesting videos going out for you all, because I was actually just recording a video, and I've stalled on putting it out because I wanted to record this video, but I wasn't sure on when to actually record this one. But basically, I recorded this video a couple days ago talking about me returning to the game, because I've been busy with a couple other projects. But
for the people that don't know, he has 5 YouTube channels that he uploads on daily.
I wanted to start grinding the game, preparing for the updates, and that's what you can see me doing right now. I'm going to be catching up to the server Paragon. I'm going to grind some more dungeons to go ahead and get my set pieces up and upgraded and complete a lot of the content that is in the game already. And we'll see how that turns out. But I hope that a lot of you can actually see that this game is actually improved a lot. The game is way better than it initially was. And
this is something that's really hard for me to mention. And I mean, he kind of has balls even saying it, because like we've just been talking about in this video, you try to say anything objectively good about it and you get flamed. One thing, I'm just gonna say what I honestly believe, which is that this game has received updates quicker than almost any mobile game I've ever seen. Every update has objectively made the game better, except for the nerfs. So things like the overworld nerf after a server merge was stupid, completely unnecessarily, and it was a brain dead decision. Okay. That being said, the good updates, like adding new legendary items, pretty much every other update, the class change feature, the set crafting items, goblins dropping legendaries, these are all things that not just me, but literally the community in which I attempt to speak for have added to the game. So you guys leaving comments, you guys going to Reddit, you guys saying these things, and then me reading it, the other Diablo partners reading it, taking that feedback, handing it directly to Blizzard, Blizzard taking that and handing it to NetEase, which then NetEase develops the game. That's essentially the process, okay? And the things that you guys have asked for not only are, but have already directly been added into the game upon request. And that is the quickest I have ever seen that process happen in any game I've been a part of. And Diablo has had consistent updates in a way that I've basically never seen. I will say this, that what hasn't changed is the monetization too much. Adding a few crests, adding the pearls that are way too slow hasn't really changed the big problem of grinding resonance. I believe it has changed a little, but not a lot, which is what I think the most people are focusing on, which is fair because that's what's received the most feedback and lashback or blowback, whatever you want to call it, is the resonance system, which is the biggest trash in the game. So even though we've got updates that have directly made all these other parts of the game better, the resonance system is still basically garbage. And we all kind of want to see that get improved. I think you could improve that with things like Rare Crest drop 2 stars. I think there's other ways to do it. You know, Goblins can drop a Legendary Crest or even Rare Crest. There's other ways that we could add more resonance to the game. You get a Legendary Crest every single day when you log in. I think JT's All Business had that idea, and I think it's a good idea to push player-driven development, because at the moment, a lot of people don't even go to the Elder Rift to claim your free Rare Crest every day. So that's just where I'm at it with that. But they are factually adding updates quicker than I've ever seen. And it's a bummer that you can't even like have that conversation without immediately being accused for being a shill, or like, oh, but this game's trash and pay to win. It's like, yes, I get it. It's like, I understand and I agree, but I'm trying to have a conversation.
And we have a lot of interesting and comprehensive updates in the works right now that I personally am very excited about. Now, do I want to keep grinding in the same spot over and over again? Do I want to keep grinding the same dungeons? Are there some problems? Of course. But I think that overall Diablo Immortal is in the best state it's ever been. And if you watched my previous video, you would have seen that you got that opinion from me. And that's why I want to see, okay, if that's what's coming, obviously I can make more videos about the future updates and all that type of stuff. But I'm curious to see what the community thinks. Now, I think this is kind of the worst part of Diablo Immortal is the community, and it's also the best part of Diablo Immortal. It could definitely be
I both agree and disagree. I think that the worst part of Diablo Immortal is the YouTube comments you can receive, but I also agree with him that like we're putting our neck out there. Like as a content creator, getting comments, and it's way easier to focus on. Like if I get 100 positive comments and 1 negative comment, the one I'm going to remember that day is a negative comment. That's just the way it works. And that's a personal problem. And so what I'm trying to do is develop thicker skin and being better at regulating like my emotional feedback to receiving these type of comments, and not really getting as angry at the community, etc. Plus, if it's somebody that just leaves like 5 racist comments in a row, you just ban them from your channel. Like it's not really as big of a deal. He understands this too. We talk about this type of stuff. But to be honest, I've seen this type of stuff drive several YouTubers away because it is consistent and it's been here long enough that it can get draining very quickly. So it's like I kind of understand him on this one. You know, it's like you develop content for as long as you can, and you try to like help people as long as you can with the content too. And then sometimes you get flamed for it, and it can be draining. It make you think like, why do I even do it? And it can push you away from it. So I get it.
A really, really poor experience, but it could also be a very, very fun experience. I've seen clans that stay together just because they want to hang out. They don't even enjoy playing the game. They just want to play with their friends in the game. And I've also seen people literally leave because people are randomly insulting them. So both sides are great, and both sides are part of the community. And
I also think part of this is Blizzard's fault too, like which is that the game is designed around drama. I was literally told, you know, straight from them that the intent of the Shadow and Immortal system is to create that friction and tension and have development of aka drama in the game. Like that is the point of the Shadow and Immortal system. It's also literally in the lore, which is that the Immortals become, you know, too fat on their own high and then, you know, break apart in the shadows. And this happens to clans all the time. They get to the top, they get to the Immortal, there's drama related to the Immortal around some stupid thing like people thinking you have to be in, you know, Vault 10 hours a day, or Keon's ordeal. Somebody gets 2 legendaries out of Keon's and now they, you know, they crucify him. Like this happens so many times in the game that it's if that's what Blizzard wanted, they absolutely nailed it out of the park, because what they got was people getting angry at each other all the time in the game.
I wanted to see if we can try to go ahead as a whole Diablo Immortal community push towards a certain sort of, okay, we're all trying to enjoy the game, we're all trying to make it better, let's get on that same page. This is definitely a hopeful video. This is definitely way stranger than I've ever posted, and you know, most people won't even get to this part, but I've never posted a video like this, and I figured I might as well try because I am interested in making the game better, and I want everyone to have that same perspective. And on that note, I'm just going to post whatever content I want to, right? I'm just going to be posting content that I think you guys will enjoy.
I think reading between the lines, basically what he's saying is like, look, I'm kind of done caring about the comments. Like, I'm done being roasted for stuff that I'm objectively correct on, like the wisps. And I'm done trying to appease people, because if you appease one side, the other side gets angry at you. I think that if that's what he's saying, I agree. But I think this is more of like a life lesson than anything. I learned this on YouTube. I learned this on Twitch. Like, no matter what you say or do, you're making somebody angry. No matter what you say or do, you're creating a fan. And what really matters, I think, more than anything, is focusing on the fans you're creating and rewarding that behavior. Then it's kind of like the story of the two wolves. Have you ever heard the metaphor of the two wolves? Like, there's the one who's like the bad wolf, there's the one that's the good wolf, and the one that you feed more is the one that grows. It's the same with your community. Like, the more you feed the trolls, the larger they become, which is why people tend just to shadow ban trolls.
And of course, we're going to see what we can do about improving our experiences in the game, and of course just general guides and of course the things I normally do. But I want to make the whole experience more enjoyable, because that's where I'm at this point. I've spent 5.5 months in this game. I pushed for Immortal. I've tried super hard. I've done all of that. I've arguably played more than anyone on most in the whole game for those first 3-4 months, because I was playing an absurd amount of Diablo Immortal, and
he was grinding like 18 hours a day every day for I would say the first month.
I'm kind of just playing the game at a decent pace at this point. I cut back a little bit to focus on some other things, and now we're back to go ahead and play the game at a decent pace. So which is the way the game's supposed to be played. Our clan went casual. I've already been the server Immortal. I got to see it from like the highest echelon. Now I'm kind of chilling. I'm like 10 levels below server Paragon. That's normally where I'm kind of cruising, right around there. And in order to actually, the difference between being like in the middle of the pack and being like the absolute top combat rating, etc., is so many hours that it's beyond the scope of what the game's designed for. So it becomes unenjoyable. The game is designed to be played 2 to 4 hours. That is the development intent of the game. So when you take the game to, I want to be number 1 on the server, and you take it to 18 hours, it is going to objectively become unenjoyable, because the game from the root up has never been designed with the intention to be played for that many hours. So when you create something that you want it to be without looking at what it actually is, that is where that discrepancy becomes unenjoyment. That's what I'm going to be focusing on. That's what I hope you all can kind of see, at least in the community, and hopefully we can arrive at that point coming forward as a whole group, trying to make the game better and trying to make it more fun for all of us. So thanks for all who watched up until this point.
You're welcome.
We'll see. I'm interested to see how this video will be received by all of you. I know, again, most people, since they won't get to this point, you guys in the comment section will know. Let me know if you reach this point. You're like, you're laughing at the comment section because they reacted some way that you didn't think that they would. But I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. All I know is I'm going to be releasing a video tomorrow talking about I have returned and talking about my future plans for my account, what things I'm going to be focusing on in terms of combat rating, in terms of set items, in terms of all that type of stuff to prepare for the future updates. And then we're going to have more content after that, probably talking about some of the new Demon Hunter items and just going over some crazy stuff within the game. So if you guys want to check out that content, be sure to like the video, sub to the channel. And of course, I'll have any news or anything that I think deems real criticism from me. So I'll try to keep it to a real hardcore, because I agree in terms of Blizzard, they've got only so much development capital, and they spend it clearly on a lot of battle passes and a lot of pay-to-win mechanics, and hopefully we can get that development capital to fix bugs and focus on some really good content. It looks like that they're doing that stuff.
The bug fixes are actually a good point, because I looked at the bug fix patch notes, and either they didn't update it or something, but it said the last bugs fix was November 2nd. But then if you look at the recent patch notes for season 7, they're like, new round of bug fixes, and you go, and there's literally no new bug fixes. So it's like, are we fixing bugs?
That's great. So I hope for a better future for Diablo Immortal, and I think we are going in the right direction. So hopefully this will continue, and I will see you all tomorrow.
Interesting chat there by Veiledshot. Hopefully it doesn't get dragged too much down by the haters. I do read his comments, and for some reason, Veiledshot is a little bit of the target of hate comments more than almost any other Diablo content creator. I don't know why this is. It's arguable that he has provided better objective information in terms of guides than the majority of the Diablo Immortal content creators, and I would consider myself in the equation that he is better than in terms of providing like objective information. He's done a lot of spot farming guides, he's done a lot of class guides, etc. I don't think he deserves all of the negativity I see associated around his comments in particular, but that is sort of what comes with the field in which we chose to play on, and so I can understand that. And this is part of the reason that other content creators decided to no longer cover the game, is fighting through the waves of hate that can come as, different spotlights arise on the game, can be rough and discouraging for some people. I'm going to be fighting through it all the way. I know I'm not going anywhere. And if I'll do the same thing Veiled is, which is that if you guys have comments in terms of things you want to see us cover related to the game, feel free to put them in the description down below. I'm going to have his video here linked down below. Go give him a like, a positive comment to help balance out. Tell him what you like about him. I'm sure he could use the positivity in terms of the comments because it can be draining on a daily basis to get a bunch of negative stuff. I love y'all. Thanks for watching this video. Feel free to leave a comment. I do read pretty much all of my comments, and I'll see you on the next one.